Jai Jagannath. Here we are. Today we are continuing the study of the Upanishads. Not easy, but we are doing anyway. Because we are fearless. Okay. So this is a little, maybe not a perfect translation, because it's been the artificial intelligence translation from Italian, but it's okay. We are going to survive that. So we have okay, so we went through all the asvamedha, gomedha, asvamedha, naramedha, and then we have entered through the opening, the crown chakra. Okay, so we have seen how the form of the Virata rupa was manifested, but the Brahman enters this body, material body, and as Prajapati, Hiranyagarbha. So after being born, he manifested all beings, because that was his task. Thus the Purusha realized himself as the omnipresent Brahman. Brahman is perfect knowledge. This is the famous Mahavakya of the Upanishads. That is why he was called Idandra, or Indra for short, because the Devas are very fond of indirect names which create mystery and secrecy, with symbolism rich in many meanings. Okay, so now we have Brahman has manifested as a Virat Purusha, that is Brahma, and that is Indra. So we can understand from this that all these personalities of God are not separate, independent individuals. They're aspects of the same entity. Still in the material world, but still Brahman. In so many forms and aspects and names, because you have seen the Virat Purusha, the Virat Rupa in Bhagavad Gita. Also there are so many pictures, paintings, right? So when Krishna shows the Virat Rupa to Arjuna, Arjuna sees all the divine bodies, all the personalities of God, all the planets, all the devas. So this is a big point that materialistic people are not able to understand. Because when materialistic people think about God or the gods, they imagine they're different, independent individuals limited by time, space, and individuality. But this is due to the faulty vision, our faulty vision. It's not the nature of God. I don't know, is that clear? Oops.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you disappeared. Okay. In at any time you can stop me, eh? Okay. So
Yes.
We continue. Spiritual awareness appears with the human form, because up to the human form there is no real spiritual consciousness. The animals and the plants are conscious about the prana, but they're not conscious about the Brahman. Okay. The sperm is distilled from the limbs of the body as the essence of their vigor. Okay. When we talk about sperm here, we are not talking about a material substance. We are talking about the ojas, which is one of the 7 dhatus of the body. It's a form of energy. It's not what we commonly think about a material substance. Okay? So it's distilled from the limbs of the body as the essence of their vigor. And in it lies the seed of awareness. The first birth occurs at the moment of conception, during sexual union. At that moment, the embodied self becomes part of the mother, as if it were a part of her body, and therefore it does not harm her. On the contrary, it is nourished by her. Okay. The nurturing mother of the fetus obtains nourishment for herself at the same time and carries the fetus until the moment of birth. After birth, the father also protects the child, and in doing so, he protects himself for the preservation and continuation of the species and the progress of the world. This is called the second birth. The father performs religious duties in the name of the son, until the moment when the latter, having reached the appropriate age and completed the preliminary duties, detached himself from the father. This is called the third birth. Okay. Now, we have heard of the Dvijas, the twice born. But here, this Upanishad is talking about 3 births, not just 2. So, we know that the order of items can be different, at least described in different ways, according to the perspective. So sometimes, you see in the house, sometimes the ground floor is called the first floor. Sometimes the first floor is actually the floor above the ground floor. That is not, extremely confusing, because we consider the ground floor as the basics. Because without the ground floor, we cannot build the first and the second and all the other floors, right? So in this sense, the birth is the basic requisite, the basic need, requirement for the human existence. So the first birth is considered the biological birth. And the second birth of the twice born is considered the birth through samskara. Right? So in these Upanishads, the samskaras are divided into the second birth and the third birth. But in fact, they're just the second one, the second birth. You understand that?
Yes.
So, basically, this second birth is when samskaras are started. In fact, we know that there is also another apparent contradiction, because the samskaras start even before the biological birth. In fact, the first samskara is called the Garbhadhana samskara, which is performed at the conception itself. So then we have, I think, 2 or 3 other samskaras during pregnancy, and then we have the jata karma, or the birth samskara. So basically, when the father is starting to perform samskaras for the child, that is considered a second birth. This is why the Yatri Rishi, the famous Atri Rishi, Janmana Jayate Shudra, Samskarat Dvijata Bhavet. By birth, only one can only be a Shudra. By samskaras, one becomes twice born, Dvija. Now, the Shudras are not required to perform samskaras. So, they're not twice born. But we shouldn't think that the samskaras only start with the, after the birth. Okay, this is clear, eh?
Yes.
Good. Okay. This event of the samskara, the third birth, is described by the Rishi in the mantra. In my mother's womb, I contemplated the birth of these gods. This is wow. I was surrounded by 100 iron fortresses. But like, that is not falco, it's a falcon, it's a hawk. So the AI didn't translate this, just put falco, okay, whatever. Like the hawk, I paved my way through self-knowledge. What is the birth of the gods? It's the development, still in a mother's womb, before birth. When the body starts to become, to develop, the microcosm is being developed. We know that within the human body, the entire universe is represented. So while the fetus is developing the body, all the gods start to manifest. This is why all the devas, okay, as principles, ontological, archetypal principles of reality, of the universe. So if the consciousness of the Jivatma is watching, so contemplating the birth of the devas within his own body. I was surrounded by the 100 iron fortresses because it's a very this is a very good description of the difficulty, that the limits, the restrictions that the material elements constitute for the consciousness. It's very difficult because the senses are not developed, so it's difficult to be conscious, to be aware in a body that doesn't have a brain developed yet. Okay? But the consciousness doesn't depend on the brain, doesn't depend on the body. So it says, like the hawk, the divine hawk, I paved my way through self-knowledge. So we cannot really know what exactly is the consciousness, the awareness of the fetus in the womb, if this only applies to Jivan Muktas, to people who are already liberated, even before birth in the material body, or this applies to all the humans. The Rishi here is not specifying it. But it's okay. I mean, we can consider that this could apply to all beings, to all human beings, of course. We see what the situation is. Okay, then we have Vamadeva composed this verse while still in her mother's womb. So this means Vamadeva was not an ordinary person. He who has known this has identified himself with the Supreme and has attained all that is to be desired even in this world. And after the destruction of the body, he rises further and becomes immortal in the world of Brahman. So this is the description of a Jivan Mukta. Because he has identified with the Supreme, so he has transcended the material identification with material body and mind. So that is the definition of the Jivan Mukta. He truly becomes immortal. Okay. What do we worship as Brahman? Which of the two is the self? Is it what we see, hear, smell, talk about, or taste, sweet and sour tastes? It is. It is. Okay, is it? It is the heart, the awareness of the mind that we have already talked about, which constitutes perception, control, which includes knowledge, attention, memory, understanding, thought, genius, mental suffering, determination, life activities, desire, passion, and so on. All of this is known as consciousness. Okay. This is the lower Brahman, the Jiva, also called by the names of Indra or Prajapati, or by the names of all these devas. So here we understand Brahma is a Jiva, Indra is a Jiva. Of course, the devas are manifestations of the Brahman, but they are Atman, because they are Atman, they're Jiva. So that's different from the Supreme Brahman, Bhagavan. Okay. Different in the sense, it's same nature, but not the same quantity. It's a lower Brahman, not the higher Brahman. Okay. Okay. And the lower Brahman, it is also the 5 primary elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth, together with the secondary subtle elements, which has the power to procreate and therefore appears in pairs, whether it's born from a womb, from an egg, or from water. Human beings, cattle, horses, elephants, and non-mobile and immovable creatures. Okay, this means that the lower Brahman is not simply male. The Atman is not simply male. It's at the same time male and female. This is confirmed all over the Shastra. So the Brahman is both male and female. The Supreme Brahman is both male and female, and the lower Brahman is both male and female. So it cannot be separated. Now, unfortunately, due to all the TV serials and films and everything, people have come to imagine that the devas are male people, like human beings, and they have wives. means, they meet a girl and they like each other and they marry and they have kids. Not correct. The devas don't marry. They are already male and female at the same time. You cannot separate Shiva from Shakti, or Shakti from Shiva. In the same way, you cannot separate the Shakti of each Deva from the person of the Deva. Because if you try to separate them, they will not exist. They will not be manifested. I don't know, is that understandable?
Yeah.
You don't sound very convinced. It's like, yeah.
They're trying to make sense of it. Yeah, like we know that without Shakti,
Yeah.
Shaktiman cannot exist. So it applies to Devas also. Like it by default attached you, there is no separation. So
Yes.
in that way,
Okay. Good. Very good. So, but this verse is saying that the lower Brahman, the Jivatma, okay, the Jiva Bhuta, starting from the blueprint, the first blueprint, which is called by the names of Indra and Prajapati and all the other devas, also is constituted by the 5 primary elements and the 3 subtle elements. Bhinna Prakriti Rashada. The 8 material elements, but it is on the material level. So the individual jiva, when manifested in this universe, is cannot be separated from the material elements. So this power to procreate, to generate, is also in the devas, but it's not like the limited power of procreation that ordinary human beings have. Because as you probably know that the devas, the children of the devas are born already grown up. They're never babies. So it's a different type of procreation. Okay. All of these creatures receive their reality from consciousness and are moved by consciousness. Awareness is the I. Maybe it was not the beginning, probably started, whatever. And the end of the universe. Awareness is Brahman. So awareness is is God. Through this Atman, which is awareness, Brahman, Atman Brahman, the Purusha has risen from this world and finding satisfaction of all desires in the celestial world, he has become immortal. Okay, that's not exactly celestial, it would be a spiritual world. He has truly become immortal. Celestial world is not the material universe, is beyond the material universe. Sometimes the Shastras identify Swarga with Vaikuntha, but that's not really accurate. So we can truly become immortal only when we are situated on the spiritual level, transcendental level, because we know that even the higher planets die become destroyed at the end of Brahma's life, even Brahma's day. And the devas are, you have new batches of devas at each Manvantara. So it's not that the devas in their body become immortal because they are in Swarga, on the higher planets. They become immortal in the sense that they have realized the Brahman level, the Brahma Bhuta. That is the only level on which, only platform on which we can be immortal, truly immortal. We already are immortal as Atman. Atman never dies. Bhagavad Gita starts by saying that. The Atman never dies. He's never born and never dies. So, means immortal. Okay. So, it becomes immortal because he becomes aware of his actual nature of Atman. Okay, the Aitareya Upanishad is completed. Let's go to the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad, which is also extremely famous. Okay. First verse, invocation. You probably heard about this verse. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Mudachyate. Brahman is infinite. And the universal manifestation, there's a lot of translation and explanation. And universal manifestation is also infinite. That which is infinite originates from infinity. Even if we draw infinity from infinity, infinity remains infinite. Why is the universal manifestation infinite? Because it's Brahman. What is not infinite is the particular configuration of the elements of the universal manifestation. Because the universes are emanated from the body of Mahavishnu, they are also part of Mahavishnu. But why we say that this world, this material world, is temporary, asasvatam? Because what is temporary is the specific configuration of the elements that compose the universal manifestation. So, the same atoms that are composing your body were in the body of the dinosaur or in a star or in a plant or, wherever, because the atoms are eternal. They appear and disappear, but the concept of the atoms, the ontological existence of the material element is infinite, is eternal. Is that understandable?
Yes, somewhat.
The problem of people, they are trying to find permanence in the particular material configuration of the elements. So they want to live forever, but in the same body, in the same material body. No, the same material body is never the same because it constantly changes. The body, like Krishna explaining in Gita in the beginning, the body you had when you were born is not the body you have now. But it's made of material elements. And material elements will always be there. They will be manifested or not manifested. They will be, put together in different ways. But still, they will be there. They will be absorbed again in the Mahatattva, and then they will become manifested again in the Mahatattva. So that's the invocation of this famous Om Purnamadaha Purnamida. Oh, look at that. Now we have the sacrificial horse again, the asvamedha yajna. So the head is the dawn. Okay, we were saying last time that the ashva, the horse of the sacrifice, is the Virat Purusha. It's not the ordinary animal. So the head of the sacrificial horse is the dawn. His eye is the sun. His life energy is the wind. His mouth is the Vaisvana fire. And his body is the duration of the year. His back is space. His belly is the sky, means the atmosphere. His hoof is the earth. His hips are the four directions. His ribs are the intermediate directions. His limbs are the seasons. His joints and the months are the months and phases of the moon. Means the solar month and the lunar month. His feet are the days and nights. His bones are the stars. His flesh is the clouds. The bolus in its stomach is sand. Its blood vessels are rivers. His liver is made up of mountains. His hair is herbs and other plants. The front of his body is the ascending sun, and the back is the descending sun. His yawn is lightning, and the trembling of his body is thunder. I'm not sure it's a yawn, probably it's a neigh. No, okay. When he opens the mouth, his urine is rain, and neighing is his voice. The golden container in front of the horse is a day which arises from the eastern sea. The silver container behind the horse is a night which arises from the western sea. In the form of Haya also means horse, Ashva, it contains the Devas. In the form of Vajin, it contains the Gandharvas. In the form of Arvan, it contains the Asuras. In the form of Ashva, it contains human beings. So, it's not just an animal, Okay, Brahman is, however, the origin of all these beings. Okay, in the beginning there was nothing, only Hiranyagarbha, which is hunger or death. So, hunger or death is basically the lack of something. The gaping mouth that we were seeing in the Aitareya Upanishad. So the gaping mouth is something that wants to be filled. You heard about the Taoist religion?
Yeah, I've heard, but
you don't know about
don't
it.
know what they
because the Taoist concept, Taoist religion, is all based on this concept of the empty and the full. There is a famous oracle book that is called the I Ching. You didn't hear about it? I Ching. No. It's a very interesting book. It's a book of oracles that is based on 6 basic lines that can be either whole or broken. And by the combination of these 6 lines come 64 hexagrams. And the oracle is called by throwing tokens. We can use like coins or straws or whatever, for 6 times. And if they come out broken or whole, then there is a particular response. So we build the hexagram, and in the end there are 64 possibilities. And this 64 is a bit like the Bhrigu Samhita. In fact, I am sure that I Ching derived from the Bhrigu Samhita. I'm very sure, because Chinese culture vastly comes from the ancient Vedic culture. Anyway, just like the acupuncture, came from the knowledge of the nadi and marmas and chakras, which is, the prana, and which is typically Vedic. So basically what happens, the empty and the full are the two, balancing energies. They're called respectively yin and yang. You heard about yin and yang probably?
Yeah. Like white and black symbol.
Exactly.
Like
so you have noticed that this symbol, it's composing a circle, and it's half black and half white, but it's not just split in the middle. One is running after the other. It's a dynamic shape. One is running after the other, and in the head of each is the other one. So in the black half, you'll find a white dot. And in the white half, you'll find a black dot. This is the concept of the Tao, which is a constant dynamic balance between yin and yang. And here, Hiranyagarbha is hunger or death, which means the movement of the empty and the full that is continuously running after, in which each one is running after the other. The full wants to be empty, and the empty wants to be full. And this is the origin of the hunger. We want something. Death is the end of something that is necessary to start something new. Because as long as your stomach is full, you cannot eat more stuff. As long as your body is alive, you cannot take another body. I don't know, is that clear?
Yes.
The problem is that if people who are not qualified, who don't have the proper knowledge and understanding and realization, if they read this stuff, they get a headache. And they try to personify, they get scared. Because on the material level, the ordinary material level, hunger and death, they're not the good things. So, ignorant people like Jesuits, they identify this Hiranyagarbha as the devil, Satan. That is the personification of all the bad things, like hunger and death. You understand? There is a big danger there.
Yeah.
Okay, so this Hiranyagarbha is the blueprint, the Adam Kadmon, the blueprint for the human being. Okay, so Hiranyagarbha therefore created the mind, and honoring himself produced water, which is also called fire or joy. It's like, what? Water is fire. Sorry, I don't understand. So this This is very deep and very interesting. Let's see how I had, presented. Okay, it's not there. No problem. Okay, well, I don't remember the Italian version because I don't know exactly if this is a proper translation. But in any case, water is hydrogen and oxygen, which they produce fire. Now, how? That's another the topic for another day. As the water solidified, it became earth. But in the course of this work, it grew tired, producing heat and radiance, which were called fire, tapas. The Virat was divided into three forms, giving rise to the sun and wind as well as fire. Thus the pranasi, divides into three main forms. The head of the Virata is the east, its arms the northeast and southeast. The bottom of his back is the west, the bones of his pelvis are the northwest and southwest, his back is space, his belly is the sky, and his chest is this earth. He is stretched out above the waters. Those who know him find rest everywhere. Which waters? You heard about the Gospel of John?
Yeah.
That says in the beginning there was.
But only hard, like I don't.
But you haven't. Yeah, you have not studied it. So it says in the beginning there was the Spirit of God and was lying on the waters. Obviously, the people who wrote that gospel had read the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad and the other Upanishad because that gospel was written after the second century by people who spoke Greek because it was written in Greek. It is, originally it is written in Greek. And it was written in Alexandria of Egypt, where there were ample schools taught by Brahmanas. Now, when Alexander the Great went to India and found all this, incredible knowledge, he came back and started this great city, Alexandria of Egypt. And when he died, his successor, Ptolemy I, the first pharaoh of Alexandria of Egypt, sent his main scholar around to collect all the knowledge. So he went to India, he spoke with lots of Brahmanas, he went everywhere. So he brought back lots of books and also many teachers. So in the Hellenistic period, there was a considerable presence of Vedic knowledge in Alexandria of Egypt, but did they understand it? These Greek people, Egyptian people, did they understand it? Not so easy. It's a different thing. So this Virat, he then desired to, in verse 4, he then desired to have a second body, a second manifestation, material manifestation of his body, and united the power of speech to thought, starting the passage of time. Means before this there was no time. Okay. The Virata remained in gestation for a year, one of his years, and when he was born, Hiranyagarbha opened his mouth to swallow him. Virata then shouted, manifesting the word. Hiranyagarbha decided that he would get more food by letting it grow and develop, and through lamenting and speech, he manifested all that exists: the Vedas, mantras, sacrificial rituals, human beings and animals. Because he devours everything, Hiranyagarbha is called Aditi. And this adds another layer. Because Aditi is the mother of the Deva. So Hiranyagarbha is not a man. Hiranyagarbha, as the original Purusha, is both male and female, as we were saying earlier. Okay. Then, verse 6. Wishing to make a great sacrifice, Hiranyagarbha committed himself to austerity. He said himself, but we know it's not exactly himself. To austerity, and from this came exhaustion, fame and power. Her body, her body began to expand. Ashva means to expand. But her intelligence, medha, was focused on the ritual. He decided to use his own body for sacrifice, which became known as asvamedha. Again, not a horse. Those who understand this meaning have the right view of asvamedha yajna. Those who think that they took an ordinary horse and killed the horse and cut to pieces and ate the pieces, they don't have the right view. Concentrating his mind on his body, he detached himself from it. After a year, he sacrificed this body of his to himself and sent the other animals to the devas. For this reason, the officials offered the Prajapati the horse dedicated to all the devas. This asvamedha yajna is radiant, and its body is the solar year. This is the arca fire, and its members make up the world. Fire and the sun are therefore called arkas and asvamedha yajna, and at the same time they are death. He who understands this concept, this conquers immortality and cannot be touched by death, becomes one with Brahman and the Devas. Okay. Are we on board?
Yeah. But again, this seems to be how we saw in the Aitareya Upanishad also. Though the language, the writing style is slightly different, but similar explanation how. And this
Yeah.
all seems to be the concept only, the blueprint, how.
But
Just that here it is referred as
this is because the Upanishads, and even more so the Veda Sanhitas of the Karma Kanda, are not meant to be studied and practiced by people who are not qualified. Because you see the mess they can create.
Yeah.
If they don't understand, they just mess up and get into slaughterhouses. And apparently this actually happened, because this is the reason why, according to tradition, Buddha appeared to stop the mess.
Yeah.
Because people had become, due to Kali Yuga, they had become, unqualified. Okay, so we have seen the Ashvamedha. Now we are going to see the Udgita. Are we going to do it next time?
Yeah, better next time. Can you suggest any commentary to, because this all seems to be very codified. You suggest anything,
I
any
didn't
commentary one
find
can
any.
refer?
There are people who wrote commentaries, but I'm not sure. Because also what
Can
we
you?
are trying to do here is
Yes.
to
Mhm.
work on a text that is not 100% accurate, which makes
Yeah.
things more difficult. So, okay, let me stop here.